Alright, well, we've got just a little bit to do tonight. The first thing is apparently there is a new quest after you finish the MSQ that is pretty important. So, I'm going to go ahead and talk to the scout here, because this Hecteye really had me scared during that final cutscene. So let's see what that's all about. Master Castle. Couldn't have appeared at a better time. You see, while out patrolling the city, I chanced to sight a void scent. I immediately chased it down with the intent of eliminating it. Something about it struck me as odd. For one, it made no move to defend itself. It simply sat there, jiggling. Which is why, against my better judgment, I decided to capture it instead. Having traveled to the void, I dare say you have considerable knowledge of its denizens. If you have a moment, might I trouble you for your opinion on the creature's unusual behavior? Truly grateful. Now, if you'll follow me, the creature is being held in the hall of the Radiant Host. Aww. He's so little. Here it is. Surprisingly docile, even when I captured it. There have been no reports of attacks prior to that. Even so, it's the nature of void scent to prey on people for their ether. Perhaps it bides its time, waiting to carry out some manner of scheme. You! I remember you. Yes, you were at Troya. Please, you must help me. What do you need help with? Huh. You do understand me. I understand the mortal tongue well enough, but I don't have a mouth to produce the sounds. It's been a struggle to convey my thoughts. Not anymore. You can help me. Yes, you can. You can converse with the void scent. Amazing. Could you ask it why it came here? When you and yours stormed the castle, I was caught up in the fighting and died. In time I returned, but I tire of fighting, so I fled, using the gate to your world. Having just been reborn, however, my essence hadn't fully bound together yet, and so when I emerged from the gate, it was as several sundered selves. Frightened and confused, they scattered. Following their trail led me here, my diminutive size allowing me to remain largely unseen. But by the same token, I can do little more than sneak about. Each of us was weak and powerless. That's why we consumed one another in the first place. Together we were strong. I want you to help me find all of me, so that I can be whole again. What do you intend to do in this world? I live here, of course. I've always wanted to. We, still remember the past, you see. Still remember when we were mortals. We long to have that life again. But we need your help, starting by reuniting us. We won't try to devour anyone, even when we're whole, I swear. You wish to learn more about the Void, yes? There is much we can teach you about those who rule its domains, about their past. Find the others, and they'll tell you all they know. No eating, no tricks. Do we have a bargain? So it crossed over to our world to escape conflict, and now searches for the rest of itself. I understand Void Scent are quite reliable when it comes to fulfilling a pact, and I dare say having one as an ally would benefit our research into their world. Very well. If you be so kind as to search for its kin, I will consult my superiors on how best to deal with them. By that, I take it we have a bargain. Good, good. I sense 4 others close by. When you find them, you need only point them in this direction. Once they sense my presence, I can guide them the rest of the way. What's that? I asked you to search for me, in exchange for knowledge about powerful void sight. I was still wanting to see this. And that, but I suppose a deal is a deal. Those men over there. Soldiers, are they not? We used to have soldiers in our world too. There were lots of them during the Contra Memoria. Ah, back from Weaver's warding, are you? I hear you fought well against the void scent that slipped through. Come now, I merely did my duty. And we all sworn to protect our nation no matter the cost? Protect our nation. How familiar those words. Where was it I heard them? Ah yes, it was the early days of Contra Memoria. The enemy had conjured a terrible item and laid siege to a fortress. The garrison was made up of ordinary soldiers, men and women with no remarkable abilities, but led by their valiant commander. They fought bravely and desperately. They had to last until the Memoria arrived, the commander told them. Needed to hold out, no matter the cost. The Memoria did eventually arrive, but not soon enough for the soldiers. Having struck down the idol, the Memoriat and his servant searched the castle for survivors. They only found the dead. Just when they had given up all hope, a faint groaning reached their ears. They rushed over to the sound, cleared away debris. To find a lone survivor, the garrison commander. Instead of joy, however, the sight of the man filled them with anger. Your soldiers are slaughtered to a man. There's barely a scratch on you. What's the meaning of this? The Eidolon was savage, but mindless. It was a simple thing to hide myself beneath fallen debris. Hide. As commander, you have a duty to your men. You are supposed to put their lives before your own. Spare me. My duty was to ensure the fortress stood, and it did. Besides, my death would have achieved nothing. Honor be damned. I'm sworn to protect our nation. To do that, I must live. It isn't my fate to fall here. It isn't your fate, you say? Is he merely unconscious? Come, let us bury the soldiers, and the commander with them. Fate shall decide what becomes of him, whether he lives or dies. Very well, my lord. Funeral rites were later held for the fallen, but solemn tears quickly gave way to horrified screams as a body emerged from the earth. The commander. I can't die. I must live, the man is said to have declared. The people thought him a demon, a disheveled horror, muttering curses as he wandered off to regions unknown. Scarmiglione, they called him, name befitting his newfound grisly visage, name befitting a monster. I thought we buried him deep. but a mortal's desire to live is not to be underestimated. You're immortal, so I expect you to understand that desire. That concludes my tale. I'd best rejoin myself. You'll excuse me? There he is. So this is where mortals consume ether. Dreading loneliness more than hunger. Very like me. You don't mind, though. I'd like to observe the mortals a while longer. The food here is simply sublime. Why, I feel stronger with every bite, as if the Murga themselves were granting me their blessing. Food is tasty, that's true enough. But no food is so sublime as to substitute for proper training, my friend. Stronger with every bite, every feed. For my part of the bargain, I will tell you how we voidsent become strong. Simply put, it depends on the quality and quantity of aether we harbor. When the world was consumed by darkness, the heroes known as Memorians arose as powerful voidsent. In contrast, the vast majority of mortals, powerless and unremarkable as they were, became ordinary voidsent like me. There are exceptions, of course, but one in particular I'll never forget. This has got to be Rubicon. No? Scarmiglione. Never had I seen a voidsent so craven. Even when he pushed to the brink of starvation, he would prey only on those weaker than himself. He subsisted on scant leavings, and lived in constant fear and hunger. In the face of danger, a voidsent stronger than himself, fleeing was the only option. But a day came when he found his way barred. How pitiful. Such overwhelming ether. Who is this? You fled instead of facing your foe. Why? I'm too weak. Why else? Would have been devoured. So had you enough strength, you would have stood your ground? Very well then. What's happening? Yes, I feel it. The power swelling within me. Lo, your foe returns. What have you done to me? Granted you but a sliver of ether. 'Twas within the power you already possessed that you defeated your foe. I possess such power. Fear had clouded your eyes, blinded you to strength you had attained feeding on the weak. You would free yourself from fear, then join me. You should have a greater cause to live for, and know true power. Curious how, in a world without death, the fear of it could be the key to great strength. The knight recognized this, recognized the voidsent's potential, and thus did he take him into his service. Determined as he is to live, it wouldn't surprise me if he were still somewhere out there. He'd be even more powerful now, I expect, from all the devouring he would have done since. Unlike your world, eating actually makes you stronger in ours. Well, I must go now. The others are waiting. The other self grows lonely, you say. My apologies. It was my intent to seek out the others. I was distracted by some bickering pair of mortals yonder. My goodness. There's been some colorful language. To hell's with you, Father. You shouldn't need his permission just to leave the goddamn house. Please, mind you your language. What would Father say if he heard you? It's always Father this, Father that with you. Sick of it. You're your own woman now. Bloody act like one for a change. Colorful language, yes. Not from the girl, though. No, she appears to be quite well bred. I just hope she's happier than a girl I knew long, long ago. That girl was born into a family of thugs, who suddenly found themselves nobility. She was raised as a noblewoman and had servants tending to her every need. But in the end, she was merely a beautiful bird kept in a gilded cage. Wanting her to be a proper lady, her parents presided over all aspects of her life. They decided everything for her, telling her what to say and do. Chafing from the fetters of her restrictive life, she solicited her handmaiden's aid and stole outside the manor, where she enjoyed a moment of bliss, unbeknownst to her parents, or so she thought. It was not long before her father dragged her back to her room, barring the door and windows, denying her even the simple pleasure of an afternoon breeze. Even a bird in a cage may chirp freely, but she wasn't even suffered to give voice to her desires. But she wouldn't be deterred. Having once tasted sweet freedom, she yearned for more, and one day she succeeded in sneaking out of the manor a second time. You're late. I was beginning to think you wouldn't come. If you're expecting your friends, I'm afraid they're not coming. Father, how did you... What do you mean, they're not coming? I had known that some miscreants were cavorting in these parts. To think that they dared try to consort with my daughter. But you needn't worry about them anymore. Food for the fishes now. How could you do this, Father? Why must you torment me so? Know your place, girl. You are a means for our family to gain influence, and I won't have you sullying yourself with riffraff. You will not leave your chamber save with my permission, nor will you disobey me again. If you do so, there will be severe consequences. Am I understood? I said, am I understood? To hell. What did you say? So go to hell. Oh, to think that I could be so exhilarating to speak my mind, do as I please. No more living in a cage. From this moment on, I am free. Free as the wind. The young woman struck out on her own, and in her travels discovered her true calling. Not in the halls of lords and ladies, but on the battlefield. She became a force of nature, famed for her striking beauty, which belied a terrible savagery. With this new life, she claimed a new name, Barbarisha. Indeed, she found her freedom. Did she also find happiness? I wonder. Suppose I'll never know, nor does it matter, for the world that once was is no more. Oh, but goodness me, I'd better rejoin the others. Here, what are you doing here? Just checking out the sunsets. Ah, what a refreshing breeze. And to return to the others. Bah, they should come here. But you look at this beautiful boundless sky. Mortals take to the air from here, do they not? Would that I had wings to soar among the clouds myself. But we voidsent are not wont to roam, you see. The mightiest among us carve out domains, while the rest labor to stay in their good graces. Now, the matter of domains seldom ventures outside, for it is in one's territory that one is strongest. For some, however, such confinement proved trying, as was the case for certain voidsent I knew. I speak of the free-spirited terror, Barbarisha. When she first established her domain, she willed away the days waiting for her minions to bring her prey. The ether amassed from these offerings were devoted to the singular pleasure of caring for her silky, glowing locks. But the resources of her domain were not without their limits. It was only when none remained to oppose her that she realized she was a prisoner in her own domain, and unless she broke free, she would inevitably wither away alone. Not knowing what to do, she had fallen into the depths of despair, and the hand of salvation came to pull her out. At this rate, my precious hair will frazzle and fray, and I only the strength to leave my domain. If strength is your desire, that is easily granted. Who are you? Oh, such power, surging through me. And what will you do with it? What is your desire? What I desire is... You would move your very domain. Impressive. Then I can do such a thing. What have you done to me? I granted you ether, nothing more. It was your will that made it possible. My will? Even so, no matter where you go, there's naught but darkness. What could your destination possibly be? Destination? I have no need of such. I wish to be free like the wind. In a world that met its end, rarely indeed is the soul who desires freedom so ardently that she could will her very domain to move. Recognizing this quality, The knight would grant her more power, and a place of command in his mighty army. A story worthy of our bargain, I trust. Might have had more to tell had I fallen off her domain. Seems you mortals also have a fondness for flying. I'd certainly like to try riding one of these airships of yours. But perhaps another time. My other cells will be a blubbering mess if I don't hurry and rejoin them. So I wonder if we'll probably just get quests like this every patch to deal with whichever fiend we're dealing with at the time. Thank you so much for finding me. I hope the knowledge I had to share was worthy of your agreement. How did you come to know the Archfiends? My other selves lived quite disparate lives, both as mortals and voidsent. But I suppose it's rather fortuitous they cross paths with such powerful voidsent. But more importantly, what they can offer was worthy of our bargain. That I am glad. All that remains now is for us to rejoin and become whole again. Huh? Is this not all of me? There can be no other explanation. There's still more of me lost out there somewhere, but I don't sense them. Where could they have gone? I mean, there's more of them wandering about. By the sisters. At the very least, what you say is true. They pose no threat to the people. Until the others can be found, we will keep the 5 under our care. Should I sense the others nearby? I hope we can count on you to find them, too. Alright, that was a pretty cute little quest. And I look forward to checking that out each patch from here on out.